with you today to talk about a website they created this year called Time Enough, isn't it? So just tell us, first of all, how it all sort of came about and what the concept is.
Yeah, so Time Enough, Trade Allure. I started working on it about 3 years ago, collating the information. And then we trialled it for a little while and then we launched it at the beginning of this year. It came about with a conversation with one of my school friends who were returning back to the island with her two children who then were aged 10 and 16. And she wanted to know what you could do on the Isle of Man. And I wanted to direct her to a website. And really, the only one at that point that I could do that was the Visit Isle of Man website, the government website. And I wanted something that was more for people who live on the Isle of Man all year round. I know since then the Our Island, the other government website, has sort of joined with Visit Isle of Man website to become a much bigger website. But what I was looking for was for something that it was totally inclusive, that listed everything on the island in one place, so that you didn't have to go to various different small sites or endless 365 Facebook pages and join endless groups, that you could just find the information really quickly and easily on one site. And that was how the Time Enough website was created.
And did you have a background in web design, or was it a steep learning curve for you?
It was a very steep learning curve, and no, I didn't expect it to take as long as I did. I don't think anyone does, but very, very rewarding. And I was surprised myself as I was typing things in. I have over 2,000 locations on the Isle of Man, and at the beginning of the year I put in over 500 events that the Isle of Man hosts every year in a normal year. Of course, this year being a COVID year, plans changed very quickly. Although because of the way we've handled COVID, there are still events going on and more events going on now. So,
but actually, when lockdown sort of kicked in, you really had to think on your feet, didn't you? And you adapted the site, didn't you?
Yes, the plan was to have a soft launch at the beginning of the year and then really push it and advertise it round about Easter, which of course was the exact time that COVID happened. So we very quickly started a series called our Lockdown series, which was working very much on the idea of stay home, stay safe, that initiative, and finding things that you could do from home virtually around the world. So the big art galleries, virtual tours of museums, and lots of activities that children could download for free. We try and keep everything for free on the site. And as a result of that, I'm very happy to say that Time Enough was invited by the Lieutenant Governor to Governor's House, together with islanders who had done something exceptional during the COVID crisis.
Do you know, it's quite a thing, this, because, you know, even just a few things that you've mentioned there, and even before lockdown, putting events on, like you said, there's a lot going on. And I know on your website, so you've got that it says that there's more than 250 organised group activities that happen regularly, over 2,500 places where you can find things to do. As you just said, in a normal year, 500 special events, sometimes 6 different ones on the same day. How on earth do you keep abreast of all of this to know what to put on when it's needed?
It's simply a lot of work, a lot of research. We do ask if you are. We have an add my details and an add my event form. So we do ask that if you are holding an event, to fill out those forms. Let us know, especially let us know when it's on, when it finishes, and where it's on, because that makes it much easier for us. But mostly it's just going around and collating things. I wanted it all on one site because I personally hate going 6 times round a roundabout, rubbernecking to find out when the theatre in the park is on. So I wanted information like that is very easy to find. And so we divided the website up between an event site and a location site, so you can find places really easily. And each of the places, each of the locations are self-referencing, so you get the address and the telephone number, but also if they have a website, you get that information, their Facebook page, their TripAdvisor. We don't judge on Time Enough. So if you want something like TripAdvisor, we reference all of that as well.
It's a huge
Well, it does sound like-
undertaking, isn't it?
And you're saying we? Is there a team, or is it just you? Or
It's a very small team. I'm not particularly computer savvy. I hadn't designed a website before, so I don't have expertise in that. And of course, ask. The nice thing about when you set up your own project is that you can ask other people how things work and the best way of doing things. When we first started, we noticed there was a continual problem of Google Maps that and a lot of people couldn't be positioned correctly on the Isle of Man, going back about 3 years now. So we simply, rang the various Silicon Valleys of the world and said, look, every time we say Isle of Man, we get a pin dropped somewhere in South Barrule. Can we work on that? And bless them, they did. And I think, since then, much more easy to get correct directions.
And that's affected it for all of us then, if they're working on it, which is fantastic.
Literally putting the Isle of Man on the map.
Yes, look what they've done. And it's the perfect site for, because, the amount of people who go around the island saying, oh, I didn't know that was on, or oh, I missed that. And I know when we used to do the film festival, we'd put out all kinds of information and promotion for it, and still people would say, I didn't know there was a film festival. But the great idea of having this sort of one place, isn't it? And it's all kinds of events, isn't it? Absolutely everything, all ages, all kinds of genres. And
yes, everything that we find, we put up on a website. I think there has been a little over-dependence on Facebook being the only way of finding out about events. And it's almost as if the Isle of Man has become a private club for Facebook, which isn't really the way that Facebook should be used. It's meant to be there to firstly support businesses. So small businesses, and a lot of the locations on this website are your small businesses. They are your hairdressers and your doggy daycare, and they are now spending a lot of their time, although Facebook is free to use, they're spending a lot of their time publicising themselves on Facebook rather than running their own businesses. So I just wanted a free platform. It's free to be listed, both for events and for locations on the website. A free platform that they could have a permanent promotion of their business, organisation or charity.
what's going on? It most certainly is Late Lunch with myself, H, and Christy with you today. And Christina Corkle joining us for the first hour from the Time Enough website. We've been hearing, Christy.
yeah, we have. And it's a fabulous space where you can literally find out everything that's going on around the Isle of Man, every possible sort of arena, I guess, really. So you were saying before, Christina, that people can actually put their own information on there. How did they do that?
Yes, what we prefer is if people actually submit their information themselves. So we have forms that you can fill out. One is add my details, and if you are a small business, please go to the website, check that the information we have for you is correct. And what we would really like is if you submitted your own photographs and your own information, because we can only sort of give a generic detail, and what we'd prefer is if it's personal and if it comes from you. And then if you're having an event, the same idea. So we have a add your events. If you fill out the form, send it to us, then, and make sure that you have the venue and the date, start time, end time, are really important, so that people can plan ahead what they want to do. Because one of the advantages that we have over Facebook is that we have a year-long calendar. So that gives people time to plan what they want to do rather than always needing to be spontaneous. And especially with sort of smaller events. So if you're having a gin evening, for example, especially this time of year, you think, oh, well, I may have done that. If I'd known that it was going to be happening, I'd have saved up a bit of money and I would have gone to it. But now it's on this evening. No, I don't think I'm going.
Yeah.
So this is what we'd like to encourage, is because there's so many events going on all the time. And sometimes when I'm listing them, there'll be, especially in the summer, there'll be about 12 or 18 events on the same day.
All clashing, yeah.
All clashing. So it's nice to see, all these things happening, but it's also nice to know what's going on in advance so you can plan and actually get to them.
Exactly. So it's timeenough.im, isn't it?
Timeenough.im.
And you're happy for people to get in touch with you as well if they've heard what we're talking about and would like to support you. Because as you said, you're doing all this for free. So, if anyone would like to actually support it, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, we wanted to be as inclusive as possible, and that meant setting it all up for free so that every single person was listed. But we can't keep doing everything for free forever. It has been a labour of love, but we are looking for sponsorship and support. We've had about £1,000 from the Isle of Man government so far, but we really need more than that to keep it running.
So what would be the details for people to get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me, Christina at timeenough.im, and then we could have a chat about sponsorship. There are locations on the website itself that could be used for advertising, things like that.
Excellent stuff. So there you go. Timeenough.im is the website.